Hi, John.
Yes.
Hi, this is Rory with the worst little podcast in the world. I'm also joined by my...
Best little city in the world.
I'm also...
Can you talk into the speaker a little louder, please?
Pardon me. Yeah, is that a little better?
Yeah, unless you have on earphones, take them off.
Well, I'm also joined here by my co-host Rick, and also Kim and Nick. They're in the background being quiet. And our other hosts of the show, Ian and Chewy and Mouse, all say hi, and we're all really big fans of yours. So it's a real pleasure to have you here on the show.
A lot of hosts there, yeah.
Well, we have a huge cast of characters, so others of us can call out sick whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
So we did want to extend to you a belated happy birthday. I know you just celebrated another one, and I gotta say, 29 looks great on you again.
Thank you. Well, it was funny because I did 2 shows for my birthday. One was in Atlantic City, and I was in Vegas the week before, and I'm coming to Reno. So, wow, I feel like Shecky.
Bang, bang, bang. Coming right out.
Of course, you know I hitchhiked through Reno, got stuck there, and I wrote about that in my book.
Was that the last time you were in Reno?
Nope. I came back when I drove across country with a friend, and we went to Reno, and we had dinner with the guy that owned the restaurant that picked me up hitchhiking, and it was so great to be there, knowing that I had a car to get in and out of.
John, this is Rick. I'm one of the other hosts. John, it was amazing reading that book, and the whole time as I was getting through the book Car Sick, I loved all the music that you mentioned in the beginning, and I made this wonderful playlist. And honestly, every time I play the playlist on my phone, it makes me feel just a little bit car sick.
Oh, good, I know. Some of those songs are tough to listen to. They might be funny to know there's such a thing, but to have to hear them over and over is a real torture.
It's so great, and it's just like the music in all your movies. And but as I was listening to you, reading about you, going across the country, at one point I realized, oh my God, he's going to go through my city. And I was so terrified that something horrible would happen in Reno.
Well, nothing terrible happened. I mean, I got a ride. I stayed because I was with the Corvette Kid. That's right, I was with him, the one that came back and picked me up, who I recently went to his wedding, by the way. We stayed in touch.
Oh, that's awesome.
We stayed in a hotel that smelled so... Look, I'm an ex-smoker, so I never smelled more cigarettes in my entire life in this place. We had fun, except with gambling, I always want to lose, because it takes so long. If you win some, it just prolongs the agony. But I did have fun there, and I went through it one other time in my life when I first drove to San Francisco in my life, like in the 60s, and I remember being kind of amazed by it and hitchhiking out. Luckily, the Corvette Kid dropped me off in Truckee, and that's not that far away, right?
Right. Just 45 minutes up the road.
I didn't even think I was that far. I think I got another ride to Truckee from right outside of Reno.
God.
But and Truckee was like beautiful and chilly, and it seemed very kind of fancy or something. I just like the name of it. But
a lot of rich hippies with bad feet live there.
Yeah, it's a lot of hippies. Yeah. Well, I'm curious. When I was in Atlantic City, and the question and answers I asked the audience, I said, "So, is there a hip casino?" And they all yelled no. I said, "Is there a hip neighborhood?" They all yelled no. So I'm going to ask, is there a hip casino in Reno?
Absolutely
No. And none of us locals...
And is there a hip neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. We have tons of great places to go. I mean, the whole Midtown area.
I said, is there a hip neighborhood? Is there like...
Midtown.
Yeah, Midtown, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's our gentrified area.
I went to a good restaurant, and I could see that it was being revitalized. But did it work?
So far, but the rents have gone through the ceiling. The property values are ridiculous. But you have a house in San Francisco. You know what that's like.
Yeah, but that's different than Reno. I mean, it used to be very different.
Oh, yeah, our housing prices have caught up to the bank.
Because of COVID, San Francisco is like Baltimore now. It's really crazy, like scary. It's like Martinville, And I know Bud the Chud is not real politically correct, but there is a lot of Chud attacking you. That's cannibalistic human around.
I come from the same era.
In Reno, believe me, when I was in some of the casinos, the homeless were in the casinos.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the best places for them to go. You can take $1 and spend it on penny slots and stay the whole night and keep warm.
Well, if you win, if you lose, you can't just stand there. They're not going to come around giving you free cocktails. Do they still do that? And penny slots, they don't give you free cocktails.
God, and we're locals, so I only go to the casino when my California family visit.
They do still serve drinks at the penny slots, but they ignore you more than everybody
Yeah.
else.
John, we're so excited for you to be here. In 1989, when I was 17 years old and homeless and doing a lot of drugs, and I just dropped out of school, somebody dosed me on a lot of acid and showed me Desperate Living and Female Trouble back to back. And at that time, I didn't fit into life very well anywhere I went. But then there were these movies that didn't fit in so much worse than I didn't fit in. And it made me feel better about myself. You really have been a huge part of my life.
You were living a desperate living, right?
Right. It wasn't quite that bad, thank God.
Well, Desperate Living was where I stole that name. There was a lesbian newsletter in Baltimore, but it was called Desperate Living. I thought, why would you call, if you're trying to be pro-gay, why would you call it Desperate Living? I thought it was the weirdest title for a militant gay activist kind of commune.
I don't understand my lesbian friends often.
Oh, I'm a lesbro. I love women who hate men, and I hate men who hate women.
Amen. Amen. God, we have so many things to talk about. I heard that you have a new novel coming out.
I do. It comes out next Monday or next week. So I'm going on a book tour to 8 cities, too.
One of my favorite
I'm
authors
excited.
just died.
It's a really insane novel about a woman with steals suitcases in airports, and it's really dirty and crazy, and I hope funny. So we'll see. I have no idea how this one will be received.
I've already pre-ordered it, so it's on its way.
Good, thank you.
I can't wait, and I
It took me
love.
3 years to write, so I don't feel bad even when friends have to buy it. It took me 3 years.
God, and I'm just about done with Mr. Know-It-All. I know I'm behind, but God, the chapter where you dropped acid again at 70, it just made me feel good about myself.
Well, it was, my mother always says, don't tell young people to take drugs. I'm telling old people to take them, not young, because you just do these pussy, kind of micro dots and shit, But the time we took, I hadn't done it in 50 years, and I used to do it with Mink 50 years ago. Mink Stoll has been in all my movies.
We love her so much.
Oh, yes.
We did it again, and it was great. I don't have to ever do it again. It was just like I don't have to hitchhike across America again either. But it was really exciting, and it felt great, and I was in a very comfortable place in my apartment in Provincetown. But I must admit, it was Bear Week. We didn't go outside.
God, John, and
I
I've been.
wasn't tripping in the middle of Bear Week, and Bear Week is really extreme in Provincetown.
Oh God, I've been sober for 16 years, and I plan on staying sober the rest of my life. I had to quit everything, but I miss LSD. I miss it.
Well, if you did it then, you've already gotten the good things out of it. I don't know really. Well, yes, I do know people that were addicted to acid though in prison, but really, it's kind of hard to do acid every day. Although I read this great book called The Man Who Hated. I forget, but it's about Nixon and Leary, and it's about Leary's life on the run. And he did acid every day until he became an alcoholic, which was an odd change. I thought they used to treat alcoholism with LSD, so he did it reverse.
Right. Well, it sounds like the LSD was the gateway drug to alcoholism.
To alcoholism, I guess. I know. So I'm glad you're sober. I believe in it. It's the one cult that works. I quit cigarettes, the hardest thing, the only thing I can come close to. And I write it down every day. I haven't had one in 7,056 days, so I want whatever chip that is.
God, it has been one of my greatest joys throughout my life that showing your early work to new friends. Like getting a new friend in the room, telling them that I'm going to show them something really awful, and then playing the movie and apologizing through the whole thing while I giggle.
It's a litmus test. It's a good first date, too. You can tell right away. And Pink Flamingos is coming out again because Criterion is releasing it.
I saw that! I'm so excited!
Great. So I kind of imagine Pink Flamingos on a first date. Believe me, you're either going to... I've met people that got married from Pink Flamingos being their first date. Many couples have told me that.
Oh.
But also, it could be like if you ever saw Taxi Driver when he takes Sybil Shepherd to a porn movie on the first date. Like, maybe not the best idea.
Oh my God! Yeah, and the other Criterion versions have been wonderful. The extra interview and just it looks so much cleaner and brighter, polyester
Wait till
and
you see with Pink Flamingos. We go back in the houses where the people live that don't know it and tell them about the movie. It's
oh my God! Oh my God, John! You've always said in interviews that somewhere, or no, it was in some. You said once that somebody said that there's probably spirits coming up from the ground of where that trailer used to be.
Yeah,
And...
we go to the house and he has a metal detector where he tries to find the trailer if it's buried in his yard.
Oh my God, that's so awesome! Wow, I cannot
Because we
wait.
never took the trailer away. We just left the burnt thing there. The woods grew up around it for 20, 25 years, and then they built new houses there. And the man that lives there, you'll see, we found him and we had to tell him about his property.
I can't believe it. That is so exciting. Oh, and I've been going to the Mosswood Park Meltdown that you do every year, and I was at the last Halloween batch.
This year we have two of them. We're doing one at Halloween too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. The punk rock, I always love them. That's a community I like because they hate everybody in the world except themselves.
John, I have been down front just staring at you 5 feet away every year at that show, and it's been amazing.
Oh, good. Well, it's going to be a good one this year, too. We got Bikini Grill, we got Kim Gordon. It's going to be great.
It's so awesome. And yeah, when you talked in Mr. Know-It-All about how there were 50-year-old punk rockers getting kicked in the head, I am one of those people.
Well, I like it when they stage stop, but they're a little overweight now, some of the people, and people drop them.
John,
they're even braver.
I'm one of the people that's dropping them. I turn around and there's always some big guy and he looks at me and he gives me the signal to try to get him up on the crowd, and I think, you're not going to make it. We're all going to drop you.
Yeah. Well, they're all ages there, which I love. The punk never dies, and it's always been my people, the punk rock world. I always felt at home in it.
Oh, we love you. And we only showed up there because you were so great and we wanted to see you. But then I've discovered all these amazing bands from going to those shows. The Mummies is one of my favorites.
The people themselves that are there are just amazing. The crowds are really great.
John, every year I was always down front, and the same people would be down front at every single show. It was the same people. We were like a family, the down front people.
Well, I saw 2 drag queens slam dancing last year. That really made me laugh.
Oh, so awesome.
Well, speaking of punk rock, and your show here coming up on May 20th at Cargo Concert Hall, we do also locally have an after party planned for you at another venue called the Elbow Room, in which 4 local punk rock bands.
Now, isn't there an Elbow Room also in San Francisco?
Oh,
I believe so.
There may be.
Maybe. I've heard that name before.
But we've got a new venue here in it's not new. It's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's an old one.
Maybe it's just I've heard of it there.
Yeah, maybe last time you came through. But 4 local bands are throwing on an official John Waters after party. So anybody who shows up to the show and brings a ticket stub will get complimentary admission. But to rewind a little, I wanted to ask you about False Negative. I hear it's a bit of a retrospective of your life in filth, and I wanted to...
It is, but it's now how everything's changed, how fashion and movies and everything is completely different, how the filthy world has completely changed. So humor has changed. What is funny now? What is fashion? What is rebellion? What can you do? I mean, you're coming to see me. You could die from coming. Maybe your last night out. We don't know. So it's kind of exciting, but it's a whole new world. So I've completely rewritten it because COVID has changed everything, and it's never going to go back. No matter what we want, it's never going to go back. So I just feel so bad for young people that are horny and quarantined. How sad.
All they could do is watch Pink Flamingos and dream.
Well, I don't know that anyone has ever masturbated to Pink Flamingos, or they're in deep trouble.
Oh, not a chance. I often tell people before I show them, I said, there's going to be some sex scenes in these movies, but it's nothing that anybody would ever jerk off to.
Well, one time a girl called me, though, and this is in the old days when they had answering machines you could listen to next to your bed, and she was masturbating for a long time watching Pink Flamingos, and it was really frightening to listen to.
I mean, which scene? I mean, there's so many terrible spots.
Whoever that girl was, it was 30 years ago. If she's alive and well, you did pick me out.
I watched Crybaby recently, and one of the grossest things I've ever seen in your movies is the French kissing scenes.
Oh, but imagine doing that today. You'd need intimacy experts, and those I remember that all those extras, they didn't even know each other. They had to French kiss for 5 hours. Can you imagine? Screen actors still would think about that now. With strangers.
God, and
I
I've seen.
remember Tracy Lords afterwards said that little fucker had a hard on.
Oh, jeez.
That was definitely not with social distancing.
Yeah.
No social distancing. And honestly, like the divine eating dog shit is something that I just treasure and I enjoy. But watching the girl drink the cup of tears grosses me out so bad I can't handle it.
Well, let me tell you two things. One, I met a girl once that told me that she did it after seeing the movie, saved her tears, and her parents caught her and made her go to a shrink.
Infecting the world.
Another girl told me once that she used to hate me. I said, why? She said, I was the little baby that Ricky Lake gave birth to in the car, and my parents never asked me if I should have wanted to be in that movie.
Oh, that's sad. She should be honored.
And she told me she forgave me, which I thought was good.
Oh, because every one of the other
Forgive her
kids,
parents, not me.
all the other babies turned out good that were in your movies.
Yeah, they all turned out. Even that one I locked in the refrigerator screaming on a second take. She doesn't remember it. I
Eat some dog food,
sorry, we
bitch.
had to put a second take in the kid was screaming. We just closed it in the refrigerator. We didn't really, we didn't have nurses on the sets in those days and stuff.
But it's so awesome how upset the child is when the door opens. It's one of those great moments.
Well, the child said, I don't even remember it. I said, it's good. It's not like you can only have sex in refrigerators now or anything.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
But that was like when I was in the Jackass movie with Johnny Knoxville. There was no nurses or safety people on the set. So he picks you up in the morning. It was like an Ed Wood movie.
God, well, and reading in Mr. Know-It-All, I mean, the sex club, the chapter when you talk about the old sex clubs, that was a little bit before my time. I mean, I was there right when AIDS was coming out, so I missed a lot of that.
That ended that with a real loud bang. I wonder, were there sex clubs like that in Reno? Maybe not.
We had a gay bar that had private rooms and a pool, but we certainly
but could you play slot machines and have a glory hole at the same time?
Right, right, and a bathtub in the bathroom.
I will say, allegedly, lock-ins still happen at one certain particular gay bar on Virginia Street.
Oh, that's right. We do have a pretty crazy club right now, and I've heard
Gay
guys.
bars have but do the gay bars, did they have slot machines in them?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all bars have slot machines on the bars built in.
Did doctors' offices have them? When you go to the dentist,
No,
are
but
there slot machines in the waiting room?
no,
How about
but
funeral parlors?
no, but every single convenience store you ever will go into, and there's always 7 or 8 meth heads sitting there just chugging change
So
into
then they
it.
don't have in that state. They don't have lotteries, right? Lottery tickets.
No, we have to drive to Truckee to get lottery tickets.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because lottery puts them out of business, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't have. And as it is now, the casinos pay all of our taxes. We have no state taxes, so that's awesome.
You there?
Yeah, sorry, John.
Right. I heard silence. You don't usually hear that.
God, yeah, and reading in when I was reading in Mr. Know-It-All, the section about the restaurant, the imaginary horrible restaurant that you wanted to make.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that the part about the oysters really grossed me out badly.
Well, that's a real cookbook. The seaman cookbook. There is such a cookbook as that. You can look it up online.
But the idea of sautéing oysters and semen, I mean, I'm a gay man,
know.
and it's still, like, and I thought after I read that, I'm like, man, he's still got it. He can still make my stomach turn.
Well, whenever I see an oyster bar and I see a straight guy slurp one down, I say, that's what it's like. I try to help people understand.
Oh.
Has he been to Burning Man?
Have you ever been to Burning Man, John?
No, that sounds like hell to me. That's too spiritual for me. And the only drug I never wanted to take was ecstasy that made you love everybody. Oh my God!
I was gonna say,
When
there's
I
nothing
heard
spiritual about it. It's more
there's
about the
such a
drugs.
thing about a cuddle pile, I was really, my blood turned to ice water.
Well, I can imagine what that smells like.
Yeah, I have haven't been to Burning Man. Do you? Is it near? I forget. Where is it?
Yeah, we're one of the nearest cities to it, but it's
And
out.
so
It's
do
out
you
in the
go
distant
and like
desert.
it?
I've never been, but everybody else on the show has gone a bunch, and some of them have just spent days naked, covered in mud. It's awful.
That sounds like hell.
I haven't
Being
been
naked,
since
covered
the
in mud.
I haven't been since the late '90s, and I hear tell it's changed. But it was, like living an acid trip in the dirt.
Now, it just told me I have to press any key to continue this call, so I'm going to do it.
Yay!
We get cut off. Sometimes you do when that happens.
Well, we'll understand.
All right.
Hey, John, I spent a lot of time going to Rocky Horror Picture Show and stuff like that. What do you feel about like the other cult, like gender bending type movies, like Rocky and Hedwig?
Well, I love Hedwig, and he's a friend of mine. Don's a good friend of mine, and I think they're all great. They came way before the trans movement, and now it seems like half of America's trans. I never knew that many people were trapped, but
Right.
they all are, and they're all rich.
God. So yeah, that's some of my first feeling like I was normal.
But I think it's great. I think people should be ever what they want to be, and I don't know why it's such a big deal to other people.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to go back and forth. Even if you become a woman, the cliche is a woman can always change her mind. Well, maybe she'll change her mind and go back 4 or 5 times in your life. Go back and forth. Then you're experiencing everything at all ages. That's what I'm for.
Right. Get it all. Get it all.
Yeah.
God, you've really been you've really inspired all of us. Knowing the story of you and your friends and everything in those movies in the beginning, it's always made me feel like if I just have a bucket full of passion and a ragtag group of friends that believe in me, I could make anything.
Well,
Like a
it's
dumb
true.
podcast.
You can. And nowadays you have a cell phone. It's much easier to make a movie. And for once, the studio is looking for the next crazy kid that makes a movie. They weren't when I did, but they are now. And I used to have to carry around that heavy, giant 16-millimeter camera that weighed a ton with a brace you had to wear on your shoulder. Now you just whip out a little phone. You don't even need lights or anything. It's so much easier.
And it looks even better, but it doesn't have that mystique. God, there's so many things in Multiple Maniacs when I finally got the Criterion version of that because I hadn't been able to find it before then, except like pirated online. The Stations of the Cross and those biblical scenes that you guys reenacted there, the scenes with Edith Massey as Jesus' mother, I just like it warms my heart every time I see it. And the whole time
I went
Mink is
back
going
to that
on.
road where we filmed that. It was kind of a little in a redneck neighborhood, like a little abandoned street. It's where Earl Peterson lives in Female Trouble. It's the same street where we filmed the Stations of the Cross, and it's still like that. Nothing got modernized or anything. But yes, I remember that was just one Sunday morning, and if people happened to drive by, that's what they saw, the full Stations of the Cross.
God, they would have thought you were a religious cult.
I don't know what they thought. They just left us alone. They ran the other direction, I think. We didn't get hassled that day at all by anybody.
You know, whenever I read up about David Lockery, his passing, it never really explains it. It always just says that there's something to do with a glass table and him being on drugs.
Well, it was angel dust. At the end, David was really addicted to angel dust, and we were estranged because of it. It was very sad. Drugs killed David Lockery. It's a sad thing, but they did. And at the end, it drove him crazy. Angel dust. I've seen people on that. It doesn't look like high to me. It looks like hell to me, the people I've seen when they've been on it. But I think it did destroy David. Yep. It's a sad thing.
God, that's so awful. And I feel bad that I discovered all the movies right after Divine passed, so I never actually shared the planet
it's better
with her.
than not discovering. But you're right. I think Divine today is probably even more famous he was than when he was alive. And I think his influence on drag queens everywhere is felt, and it made all drag queens hipper and funnier and angrier and less afraid.
Yeah, you can do anything. And God, and watching they call it the Divine documentary. That
was a good one, right?
God.
And they have that's going to be on the Pink Flamingos Criterion release. Is that documentary that Steve Yeager made?
Oh, that's
called
awesome.
Divine Trash. That's a different one. That's about us making Pink Flamingos. The one you're talking about is I Am Divine.
I Am
It's way
Divine.
good.
Right, and I've got Divine Trash also. But in that I Am Divine, Pat Moran has the best line about it in the whole movie, and it's only in the deleted scenes. And she says, It's a great story. It was just supposed to have a different ending.
Well, good. Yeah, Pat's great. She's my best friend ever, so she's alive and well.
My ex and dear friend Carlos shares a birthday with her, and everybody I know is so thrilled you're coming to Reno. We can't wait to see you, and we're
Good.
all
Well, I'm looking
Reno
forward
loves
to
you.
it. Now, someone's at the door. Can I hold 1 minute and get it?
Sure.
Hold up. Coming.
This is awesome. I'm freaking out over here, guys. It's so great.
Are you filming this?
Yeah, if you want to say hi to everybody watching.
Okay, sorry, it was FedEx.
Oh, I hope it was something worthwhile.
I haven't opened it yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, Pat's the great on any interview or anything, or any documentary when she comes on. I just love her. I love her hair. I hate that when you went to ask your different friends which one would take LSD with you, that she immediately shot it down.
Oh, she did. She did. Oh, no. But I used to take LSD with her 50 years ago, definitely. But I think she just, I did take her for Paris for her birthday this year.
Oh, that
No,
must be
London.
great.
We went to London for her birthday. I took somebody else to Paris. We've been going to Europe in the middle of the pandemic. Yes, and we didn't get it.
God. Hey, back to that last Halloween bash at the Mosswood Park. At the end of it, the Mummy set just ended abruptly, and the lead singer ripped all the cords out of the amplifiers. Were you backstage? I couldn't tell if that was
I
staged
can't
or not.
remember anything going wrong or anything. It's hard to tell with the Mummies because they're so hilarious and there's so much anarchy in their act. You never know what's real and what's not. But what, you just felt it ended weirdly?
Yeah, well, I was down front, as I always am, and I'm mainly focused on not being kicked in the head. So I'm not paying a ton of attention to what's going on stage and just jumping up and down. And then all of a sudden the music stopped, and I looked up, and the lead singer ran across the stage and began ripping the bass player and the guitar player's cables out of their amplifiers, as if to say, we are stopping the show now, there's nothing you can do about it. And then he stormed off stage. And that was how it ended.
I don't remember that. I was backstage, but I don't remember afterwards any drama. So, you know what I mean?
God.
So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. You got me on that one.
I hope it was staged, because I want them to be happy.
Oh, it was staged. I think, they're great. They're there every year. But I just saw a friend that saw them recently. I didn't realize they play all over America, but they do.
Yeah, I've only ever seen them in Oakland, so
Yeah.
loved it so much. And I've run into them.
I did a show with them when we were there, when Tracy Lords and I were on the top of the car while they were singing. It was amazing.
Oh, when they played on top of the car, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
God, I wear a T-shirt that has that car, and I've often told people I've seen them play on top of that car.
Yeah, exactly.
And the marching band led them out.
Yes, I remember. That was a good year. That's what Tracy Lords was there that year.
God, so amazing. So amazing. Oh.
Well, so for the listeners out there, once again, the show is going to be at Cargo Concert Hall on May 20th here in Reno, Nevada. I think a 7 o'clock door time. I'm not sure the start time of the show. Probably 8, and then done by about 9:30, which gives you time to hustle over to the Elbow Room for the after party at 10 o'clock, featuring One Ton Dooley, The Juveniles, Eddie and the Subtitles, and The Living Daylights.
Well, that sounds like a good lineup. And just think, I don't have to hitchhike in. I'll have a ride, so it'll be really glamorous.
It's just down the street, even.
Yeah.
Hey, John, on our
All right,
podcast.
well, see you there.
Okay, you are the best, and thank you so much for giving us so much
Thanks
time.
so much.
You are very
Bye-bye.
loved in Reno.
All right.
I ran out of questions.
You didn't ask the one question.
Uh-oh, shit. My earring just bounced across
no.
your floor.
That's fixable.
Now
Yeah.
play it back. Play it back. Make sure we have it.
Please, please.